What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin. Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. There was a significant day that we just had. It was a 7.7% day to the downside, and to me, I hear 7.7, and I'm like, that's not that big of a deal, right? We've seen Bitcoin drop a lot more than that in a day. We've seen it pump a lot more than that in a day. What the big deal is this is the biggest candle on an open to close basis, up or down, that we've seen since October 23rd, since this day back here, where we had a 10.28% candle. And that day, that 10.28% candle was the biggest candle on an open to close basis that we saw since November. Got to go all the way back since November of 2022, right? Almost a year went by and we hadn't seen we got close, but we hadn't seen a 10% candle up until this day here, right? And this is the biggest candle we've seen since that day. The most volume we've seen also, if we zoom out, take it back, it's the most volume we've seen, even bigger than that volume over there, since January of last year. It's been almost a year since we've seen this much volume, and it's coming in as we're moving down on this very relatively bearish candle. Again, I want to say relatively because it's not like the most bearish candle. 7.7% really isn't much for Bitcoin, right? We've seen a lot bigger than that. But biggest candle we've seen in a while, biggest volume we've seen in an even longer amount of time. I think the significance is playing out. Okay, I really do. What's significant to me about this is that, I don't know if you guys remember, but this day here, 6.9% of a day. I remember my video that I made that night. I remember I made it and it was like, technically it was on this candle here, but the day closes, it's nighttime for me, it was during this candle. But everybody was euphoric. A lot of YouTubers, they were so, and Twitter was going, or X.com was going crazy. I want to say X.com. I want to give Elon Musk the respect he deserves, man. He bought Twitter. Twitter's dead. X.com. But that's not what this video is about. All the media was going crazy. Everybody was so euphoric. And I remember making a video on that day, and I said, what's the big deal? We didn't even pump 7% from an open to close basis. What's the big deal? So again, here, 7.7%, not that big of a deal. But the big deal to me is, this was such a big deal for all the bulls, and now those same people that were getting euphoric on that day, you know what they're saying today? It's not a big deal. It's okay. It's probably not going to go lower. It's fine. We're fine. We got the ETF. The ETF's going to save us. It's our golden savior. We're not going to go down ever again. We have the ETF. It just got approved. Of course we're going to go up. No, it's a sell the news event. Just as any sell the news event is, they're not 100% guaranteed to sell the news. It's not 100% guarantee at all. And yes, we have the halving coming up, but I will go in detail as to why I think the price is going lower over this video. I'm not just going to keep talking about this, but I think it's funny. I think it explains the psychology of most market participants. If you've been paying attention, how euphoric people were here, and now those same people on a bigger day to the downside are like, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. We still have higher lows. It's okay. Yeah. Until you don't, man. But let's get into the TA. So first and foremost, we rejected the overbought zone. Okay, we've rejected the overbought zone. Anytime that we do that, it's not a good look for Bitcoin. And I've been saying that since that happened, right? And yes, we moved up all the way up here. I even called that move too, man. And I'm not trying to spin victory laps, but I'm just saying that move didn't throw me off at all, because this was actually this was the hour that the ETFs got listed. They were approved before, but we saw them get listed. So the stock market opened up, we saw an initial surge, and then we dumped afterwards. And we've actually continued to dump since. Higher lows here, higher lows all the way through. Sure, I bet a lot of bulls right now who are ignoring the fact that this day is bigger than that day, and they got so euphoric on this day, but this day is a nothing day. And it really is a nothing day. Don't get me wrong, it's a 7.7% day. But the thing, again, that's significant to me is not the percentage, it's the attitude. It's the denial, essentially. Okay, you're seeing it in your face. The signs are there. It's the biggest day that we've seen since October, with the most volume we've seen since last January. The signs are in your face, but you're like, it's not a big deal. But this day, with the nothing volume, well, not nothing, but a lot less volume, and still insignificant price action, that was a big deal. They're probably looking at this line, all of them, and they're like, we're still holding support. We're fine. And maybe today we touch that line again, maybe we don't, maybe we do have a little bit of a pullback. It wouldn't be crazy at all to move back up. We could move all the way back up to 46K, you guys. That would be still a lower high. And in fact, maybe we move to like 45.5K. We could move up to there today or tomorrow, something like that over the weekend, and then next week open up going down lower, right? And a lot of people are probably going to be looking at this line as if it's like this line made out of stone, that it can't be broken, right? We're clearly bouncing off of it, even though the bounce that we're going to get will probably likely not encompass this day. If we can encompass this day, if the bulls can respond and we can close above 46.7K, okay, I will defect that this is a higher low, that we are moving up, but the signs to me aren't pointing to there. We've got a whole lot to go over, and actually I don't want to go over everything that I've gone over before, so we're going to have a whole lot less to go over. But we do have 11 weeks in the overbought zone. Generally speaking, that's the limit that we see. We've seen 2 times in Bitcoin's history where we have been in the overbought zone for more than 11 weeks, and that was 18. We've seen 18 weeks twice. Both of those times happened after the halving. Here we are in the months before the halving. A lot of people want to say that we are a few months away from the halving. It's bullish time. Why would the price go down? Well, if you go back and look, and I'm going to go through this quick. I know I made a video on it yesterday, but I want to go through it quick in case there's any people who are new who want to know why I'm saying the price is going to go lower. Is that if we look at the first halving, and I'll go really, really quick here, 2012 November. That was this month here. 1, 2, 3 months before, we had this high. The high to the low that we saw was a 36.9% drop. We saw a 36.9% drop before the halving. Okay, again, a 30 to 40% drop is normal for Bitcoin in bull cycles. Okay, and it doesn't look like it. It looks like a big old nothing on the monthly scale. But if you were living it out, you experienced a 36.8% drop. That can be intense for a couple weeks, right? And it was short-lived. It was like 1 month here, 1 month there. The next month you were kind of stagnant, and then you were stagnant still for 2 more months, and then you went up. But you were on pause for a little bit. That was 2012. 2016 in July, right over here, was the next halving. And from that top to the local low, we dropped 40%. Even after the halving, we continued to drop. So again, before halving, we found our top. During the halving and post-halving, we continued to drop still. I don't know if I said we found our drop or we found our top, but I meant to say we found our top. 2020 was the last halving that we had, and the next halving after this, that was in May, right here. And here, we didn't drop that much, right? We only dropped like 12.5% from there. But before the halving, if we go back again 3 months before, 1, 2, 3, we dropped 72%. Or no, sorry, we dropped 72 from there, 63% there. And maybe you're saying, well, that was COVID. Okay, fair enough. Let's cheat. Let's put it to the monthly close. We'll take it to the monthly close where we found support before, where we kind of closed right there. Still a 38.9% drop, okay? Still a significant drop that happened within 3 months before the halving, right? The only one that didn't have a significant drop within 3 months before the halving was this one, but it still continued to drop afterwards. So all I'm saying is that the halving it's the most bullish event in Bitcoin, you guys. It might be the most bullish event in crypto. In my opinion, it's more bullish than the ETFs are, a lot more bullish than the ETFs are. But I think it's the main driving factor that supply and demand, man. You cut the supply in half, demand could stay the same. You cut the supply in half, price goes up. It's math. It's just math. Demand could even go down a little bit. If supply gets cut in half, the price would still go up. Halving event is one of the most bullish events in crypto. Look at this. We're already going up to 43K. Love to see it, man. Again, we can move up from here. We absolutely can continue to move up from here. That'll give people hope. It wouldn't be crazy at all to check back at this area where we found resistance, to check back where we closed up here around 46K. Maybe 45.5K to 46K is what I'm thinking. Maybe we don't go that high. Maybe we just continue to move lower. But it is the weekend. Price action on the weekend can be a little bit less reliable, so don't get caught up in that. Let's wait and see what happens next week. I'm definitely, as I've been here, I wouldn't say that I'm more convinced now that we're going to go lower. I'm just as convinced here as I was here that we're going to see lower prices. And where are we going to go? I really want to get into the meat and potatoes of this video as to where I think we're going to go and give it like a legitimate reason why, right? beyond the fact that we're here at 11 weeks, beyond the fact that most of the time before the halving we see a 30 to 40% drop, beyond the fact that we just had a very significant sell the news event. We got the biggest day that we've seen since October with a significant amount of volume, and the bulls are literally in denial. Without any of that, let's look at what we've done, relatively speaking, with Bitcoin and its Fibonacci scale. From the low here of the bear market to the high, right here, you found support in your 61869 area, right there. We're going to go through all these and just kind of keep them in mind, okay? Right here, you bounced right off your 0.5, right off of that. And that doesn't happen often, but you did. Most people were probably looking for the 61869 area, but it bounced right off the 0.5. There's not a whole lot. If we look back, take this fib away, there's really not a whole lot of price action that would suggest that you would bounce right there. We had one weekly close right here, but there's not, like, I would think that you would go lower. I'm sure a lot of people would have thought you'd go lower, or that you would have bounced here, but you went somewhere in between at the 0.5 there. If we take this low to this high, you bounced right off the 0.5 again. You take that same low and you take it to this next high, that low there after that high went right on the 0.5 again, right? Similar right in that area. I wonder too. I actually haven't looked at this, but from top to bottom, look at that. You found resistance on your 0.5, came down, found support on your 382, and then you moved up. 0.5. The 0.5, the way that fibs work, here's a little secret, not a secret, just an observation that I've made, something that I don't remember if I read it or I was told it, or if it was something that I discovered on my own. I maybe not exactly that I was told it, but I was told something like this, and I applied it to the fibs, and I found it to be true, is that you can use an indicator, any indicator, and RSI included, like whatever, and it has levels that are significant throughout all time. But charts, they kind of have personalities, right? And at different stages in their lives, they might respect different areas more than they did before. They might always respect certain areas, and maybe not always, but like throughout their life, you'll see them continue to respect certain areas. But they have phases where they respect some areas more than others, if that makes any sense, compared to your indicators. Right now, it seems to me that Bitcoin is respecting its 0.5. So what I'm getting to is, if we take this low here, the most relative low that we have, to the most relative high we have, the 0.5 comes in right here at about 34.9K. And I've been calling for prices to go between about 32 to 36K now for the past few days, and I think, like, to a T, man, to a T, I think this is where price is going to go. I don't expect us to go to the 61869. It could. I accept it as a possibility. I don't expect it to, right? It absolutely could go there. And if it goes below there, all hell has not broken loose. If it goes below here, it goes to the 786 or the 886, all hell has not broken loose. We still have higher lows. We still have good market structure, okay? But right now, I'm sure I'm not the only person drawing these fibs. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are like, Bitcoin loves its 618. Yeah, and it does. It respects its 618. It respects its 786 too a lot. But throughout this move, since we've bottomed, it's been respecting its 0.5 a lot more. And that comes in just below 35K. To a T, 34.9K is where I think the price is going. I think we're going down there. Maybe we move up from here a little bit, and then we move down. I don't think it's going to happen in a blink of an eye. There we go. Tried to snap my fingers. I don't think it's going to happen in a blink of an eye. Maybe it does, but I would expect more that we're going to see it happen over, the coming weeks to months. It could literally take 4 weeks or more before we actually see prices down this low. It could take 1 week, 2 weeks, but personally, I am thinking that it crawls its way down there. It doesn't just drop straight down, because we still have plenty of time until the halving. We can go all the way down there, have our bottom, and then pump going into the halving. Maybe the halving happens, we sell off a little bit, form a higher low, and then after the halving, we're consolidating, we're being stagnant, as we've done. Go back in history and check it. The halving is a bullish event, but it's normally stagnant. The price is normally stagnant around the halving. And as we get closer to that, we're around that stagnant time. After having all this movement up without a significant price to pull back on, I don't think we're going to be stagnant right now. I think that we are going to move down pretty steadily. I don't think it's going to be a straight drop down, though it could be. But regardless of how long it takes to get down there, when we go down there, I don't think we're going to bounce straight off to the moon. I think that we're going to consolidate. We're going to move more or less sideways. We're going to be range bound, kind of like we were here, April to October, May, June, July, August, September, October. So not as long, though it could be as long. We might see another phase just like this, actually, quite literally, because I don't think that April is going to cause prices to go higher than this. I think like May, probably June or later. It's going to be in the second half of 2024 that we see prices above here. And I know a lot of you are probably like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That does not compute. And maybe some of you are like, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know. I don't know what everybody's thoughts are. But in my opinion, if we go back and we look here at, what was it? Crypto Fear and Greed Index, I would bet that a lot of people are feeling very greedy. Yesterday it was 7.1. Actually, the day before that it was at 7.1. It was at 71. The day before that it was at a 76. The highest ratings we have seen in over a year, multiple years. Okay, and we had a 71 yesterday. We're still in the greed zone, even with yesterday's price action closing the way it did. Even with the biggest day that we've seen since October, we're still in some of the greediest zones that we've been in quite some time. Right? People are in denial. Where was I going with this? Where? Oh yeah, back to saying that I would bet that most people, when they hear that we're not going to move up past that high until the second half of this year, you're like, that doesn't compute to me. But to me, it makes a lot of sense. And I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. Okay, I'll be wrong again. It happens. But we're at an area in the RSI right now where I would think we're also in the weakest areas of the RSI that we've been in since October as well, showing some of the, and that makes sense, right? Getting the weakest price movement, showing the weakest signs, of course, rejecting the overbought zone. I would expect that we don't see the overbought zone again until we get into the oversold zone. And whenever we move into the oversold zone, let's just look at our last time that we were down there. We got into it here, okay, August of 2023. We didn't just pop right back out. You could have bought in the oversold zone, sure. It moved up a little bit, and then it even actually moved a little lower, a little fake out, and then it continued to move up. But we didn't like fully recover and break out until it was August, until a couple months later, right? Let's see when the last time you were in the oversold zone before that. Here, okay, this was relatively quick, sure. You got in the oversold zone right here on this day, and then 2 days later you continued to move down still, again showing that just because you get in the oversold zone one day doesn't mean it's the absolute bottom. It can be, but likely you do have lower to go still, or sideways to go. Here we got into the oversold zone right on this day, and we had lower to go. And again, we did find the bottom pretty quickly, but we moved sideways for a very long amount of time and then moved up, right? This was the end of the bear market though, kind of different, but oversold zone, lower to go still, right? First got into the oversold zone in quite some time, lower to go still. You first got into the oversold zone here, lower to go still. I'm not going to go through all the history, but you can go back and check it yourself. Oftentimes, there are times where you get into the oversold zone one day and the next day you have a positive reaction. That does happen. I'm not saying that it's impossible to do that. I'm saying it's not likely. It's not the common thing that we experience. The RSI right now, to me, looks like it wants to go lower. It looks like it wants to go into the oversold zone. Absolutely, from here, it could go higher and then go lower. When I say it's going lower, I don't mean it has to happen right now. Absolutely, it could, but it's working its way down there. And when we get down there, that doesn't mean that it's off to the races. That means, okay, we've probably seen the worst of it. We might have a little bit left to go, and then we're going to move sideways for a bit, consolidate, and then we'll move up, stuff like that. Less commonly, we would get down there and then pop up. That is possible, but that's not what I'm expecting. So all that to say, man, the main thing that I really wanted to address is this fib right here. Again, from the relative low, you want to draw it yourself, you can. I use it on log scale. That's how all my fibs are. I put it on log scale, and then I put the fib itself. If you double click on the fib, you scroll down to the bottom, fibs based on log scale, right? I'm on log, the fib is based on log. The 0.5 is right there just below 35K. It's also a previous area of support here. It's kind of in the middle of this price range here. To me, it makes sense. It just makes sense. What else fits with that is that from top to down there, that is about a 30% drop. And I bet a lot of people are going to be like, we normally have 30 to 40% drops, because we do. We really do. But if we had just a slightly less than 30% drop, that might throw some people off. They might be expecting lower prices because of that, right? They might, when we get down here, I bet a lot of people, because it's very not common, you guys. It's actually very uncommon to bounce off your 0.5. But the thing is, back to the whole personality thing of charts, Bitcoin's having a phase where the 0.5 and the price action seem to be flirting. They're having a fling right now, okay? It's been a while since it's visited its 0.5. It needs to say hello. It's going to do that. That's my thoughts. That's my prediction. That's my analysis. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. I appreciate everybody for coming. Thank you very much. Definitely hit that like button if you're feeling like it. And if you're not, let me know why. Let me know why I don't deserve the likes. But I'm sure I won't have too many hyenas chirping it up in the comments, because, again, as I called a couple days ago, you've all turned to crickets. Where are you at now? You were so loud. You guys, you were all so loud. You were talking so much crap. And I don't care. I don't take it personally, man. I'm the type of person, like, there's some people that get all worked up. You guys know the YouTubers that get all worked up over that. There's some people that don't get worked up. They just delete their comments. They don't let any person see the bad comments. We know those YouTubers too. And I'm not trying to talk smack on them, but for me, the way that I am personally, you want to talk smack to me, I will talk smack back. I got nothing problem. We can be friends afterwards. I think I made a friend today. He was the only one that was actually talking smack. All the other hyenas went away. This hyena stuck around, and he was barking loud, and I was barking back, and I think we actually became friends. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's a little bit of mutual respect there. And that's how it happens. And if not, if people get salty and they want to just be like whatever about it, okay, fine. That's okay too, you know. But I've made plenty of friends through talking smack. I don't take it personally at all. And whenever people do take it personally, it's funny to me. It's like, dude, I don't know you. You don't know me. It's all through the internet, right? Like, there's no need to take it personal. We don't have to be enemies. We're all in this together, bulls or bears. We're all in this to make money. I hope everybody makes money, right? And really what I'm trying to say is, where you at, hyenas? Where'd you go? What cave are you in right now? Because you were all up in my face a few days ago, and now, you know, that's just another call that I got correct, is that you just turned into a bunch of crickets. There is one of you who actually has gumption, who I actually have a little respect for, and the rest of you did exactly what I would expect from people who just talk smack on the internet, who hide behind like their usernames without putting their face out there, you know. So I don't know, man. I shouldn't be talking too much about that. I'm just kind of, again, I don't really like to brag about whenever I'm right. I have no problem admitting whenever I'm wrong, but I really do love the dynamic between people talking smack, and because I can talk it back, man. I can talk it back. I can be wrong and still talk smack, man. You know, like, it's okay. It doesn't have to be personal. It's funny to me a lot of the time, but this whole last point of the video is dumb. So take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.